Hello, everybody, and thank you for coming to the 2024 Indie Ink Awards, where we celebrate all manner of small press and self-published books that were published prior to and including November 2024. So our presenters today are going to be myself, and joining us are four of the judges from this year's awards. We have Matt from Tiny Elf Arcanist. Matt, him, is a tiny elf navigating a human world. He has lived hundreds of lives, mainly by role-playing and reading fantasy books. He believes in the importance of representation in all types of media and loves the diversity offered by indie books. We also have Michelle. Her is a book reviewer and reader on Instagram at Bibliovino. She has read for the self-published science fiction competition, the Sibelius Awards, the Indie Ink Awards, and is a founding adjudicator of the many realms in indie and self-published sci-fi fantasy competition. Michelle currently teaches PK1 music in Texas and lives with her husband, 2 cats, and a dog. When she's not reading, she loves playing with stickers and drinking wine. Shrike, they, is a physician, artist, and naturalist. He rekindled his childhood love of reading about 2 years ago after he began reviewing indie arcs. Since then, Shrike hasn't stopped squawking about his art form. He's an especially avid reader of queer horror, fantasy, and romance. He can be found on Instagram and Blue Sky at Shrike Bait. We also have Alma. She is a voracious reader who began reviewing books in 2020 across a variety of platforms. Joining Book Talk in 2023, when Alma is not reading, Alma is engaged in social and environmental justice, nerding out on data analytics and TTRPGs, teaching her dog a new trick, spending time under the surface of the ocean as a citizen scientist, or researching the best location for her newest native pollinator plant. Alma is dynamically and invisibly disabled, #SpoonieClub, and lives as a Texas transplant along the sunny Gulf in Galveston with her dog Mabel and lots of books, vinyls, and plants. You can find Alma talking about all things books on Storygraph and TikTok at BKWRM1317. So those are our presenters, and we will get to hear from them as the awards goes on. So just a little bit about the awards. All the stories are self-pub and small press books. They are eligible as long as they are on the Indie Story Geek platform, which is where the awards are organized, I guess, for lack of a better word. So as long as they were published before or on November 2024, they were eligible to be in the awards. So just as a note, if you have a favorite book that is indie or self-pub, get it on the Indie Story Geek platform. So not only so that, other people can read about it and see about it and read your reviews and things like that, but also so that they can be eligible for the awards next year. A special shout out to our sponsors, who are WriteHive, Inked and Gray Press, and Indie Story Geek, both coming together to highlight self-pub and small press books. So, like I was saying before, as long as your favorite books are on Indie Story Geek, they are eligible for the awards. The judges read through the finalists after the voting period, and then we get to highlight the finalists here and announce our top favorites in each category. And a special thank you to all of our judges. I'm just going to leave this here. There are a lot of judges. If you go on Indie Story Geek, to the web page below, as you can see, you can look at and see all of the judges. We appreciate you so very much because it is a lot to read through the stories and and judge them and everything. So we really do appreciate you for coming on and volunteering to make your TBR pile much, much bigger by adding a hell of a lot of books to it. So thank you again from all of us. Okay, and now we're going to get into the awards. First up in categories is our best in categories. We do have two sets of categories, our best in categories and writing the future we need categories. First up in best in awards is audio narration. I'm going to hand it off and let the judge read the audio narration piece.
My name is Michelle Taylor, and I'm excited to present the Best in Audio Narration Award. I would just like to say how much audiobooks have become so important to me in the last year. I had kind of a rough time this last year and was unable to really concentrate on ebooks and physical books, and audiobooks really saved my bacon. They were able to allow me to still enjoy reading. And so I know that I'm not the only person who has been in that situation with our disabled and otherly abled fellow readers. And so I really love that we have that option and that we had so many authors who gave us this this gift this year, whether they were in this category or not. So thank you to the authors and narrators who had those available for us. So I'm going to read the finalists for this award this year. So our finalists were A Curse of Breath and Blood by K.W. Foster, narrated by Gary Furlong and Emma Wilder. Breeze, Spells, and Bridegrooms by Sarah Wallace and S. O'Callahan, narrated by Matt Simpson. Ascendant, Songs of Chaos #1 by Michael R. Miller, narrated by Peter Kenny. Glass Wings by L. Cayley, narrated by H. Keith Lyons. Earthbound by Katie Stein, narrated by Magnus Carlson. Heir of Stardust and Secrets by Cece Hartley, narrated by Shay Sands. Oak King, Holly King by Sebastian Northwell, narrated by Gary Furlong. Stone and Sky by Z.S. Diamante, narrated by Peter Leopard. Paragon Exordium by Michael Meswassel, narrated by Cormac Brennan. Time Marked Warlock by Shami Stovall, narrated by Jeff Hayes and Annie Ellicott. Under the Dragon Moon by Mossy Hanlon, narrated by Richard Pendragon. When Oceans Rise by Robin Alvarez, narrated by Jennifer Aquino. And Worth It by Amy Nielsen, narrated by Shaylee Hannigan. And our Best in Audio Narration winner was Breeze, Spells, and Bridegrooms by Sarah Wallace and S. O'Callahan, narrated by Matt Simpson. This is book 1 of 3 in the Fae and Human Relations series. All 3 are narrated by Matt Simpson. One of the reviews from our judges says that this romance morphs into something so honestly caring, sweet, protective, and pure as to utterly melt my heart. This is a part Bridgerton and Fae enemies to lovers romance taking place in London in a bygone era. And it is full of magic and whimsy, a very cozy romance that's sure to get under your skin. Some of the reviews on Goodreads say it's a hug in a mug and 500 pages of pure joy. One of the reviews says the audiobook was just perfect. A huge congratulations to Sarah, to Sharon, and to Matt on their win.
Thank you, Michelle, for presenting Best in Audio Narration. Next up is book cover. And the best book cover finalist. First, we have A Bone in His Teeth by Kellen Graves. Beneath the Indigo Sky by Rain Hawthorne, cover by LIS Arts. Cleats, Corsets, and Cuties by Ashashi Rastogi, cover by the author. Generations by Noam Josephied with cover by Daniel Coots. Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page, cover by Cover Dungeon. Isolation by Jared Grace, cover by Eve H. Harbinger Design. Reverence by Melina McKay, cover by Jennifer Price. What Manner of Man by St. John Starling, cover by Beastly. We also have The Journey of Love by Simi Ramdot, cover by Karina Van Eden. We also have Ascendant, Songs of Chaos, Book 1 by Michael R. Miller, cover by Yigit Karoglu. And the winner for Best Cover is Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page, with the cover by Cover Dragon. Next up, we have Best in Friendship. And our Best in Friendship finalists are Ascendant, Songs of Chaos, Book 1 by Michael R. Miller. A Curse of Breath and Blood by K.W. Foster. Eye of Ouroboros by Megan Bontrager. The Air of Stardust and Secrets by C.C. Hartley. An Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. How We End by L.M. Juniper. Pretty Average by Arani Voltman. Paragon Exordium by Mikkel Melasel. The Journey of Love by Simi Ramdot. Another finalist in Best in Friendship is Remembering Demons by Jay Cornelius. And the Best in Friendship winner is Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Congratulations to Sarah, Best in Friendship winner. Okay. Next up, we have Best Light Read. Light read is more like a cozy kind of read. And the finalists for Best Light Read are Through Legend They Fall by Rachel Penley. Cleats, Corsets, and the Cutie by Ashashi Rastogi. Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. The Flowered Blade by Taylor Hubbard. Isolation by Jared Grace. The Finding Machine by Lucy Lyons. Cursed Cocktails by S.L. Rowland. Fish Out of Water by Mark Jedell. An Ozarks Lake Mystery. The Journey of Love by Simi Ramdot. The Concealed by S.K. Horton. Performances of a Death Metal Bard. Brutal Novella by Rob Lee. And the Best Light Read winner is, we need a drum roll as a sound effect, The Finding Machine by Lucy Lyons. Congratulations to the winner, best mentor character, is next. And here we go. Best mentor character finalist. Dark Blue by Molly McCobb. Generations by Noam Josephides. How to Bare Your Neck and Save a Wreck by D.N. Bryn. Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Paragon Exordium by Mikkel Lowassel. Under the Dragon Moon by Mosse Hanlon. Remembering Demons by J. Cornelius. Soul Cage by L.R. Schultz. The Flowered Blade by Taylor Hubbard. Through Legend They Fall by Rachel Penley. The Odyssey, Sex Wizards, Book 4, Alethea Faust. And the winner for Best Mentor Character is Under the Dragon Moon by Mosse Hanlon. And I just want to say there's so many good books and especially so many pretty covers as I was putting this all together. I didn't have time enough to put together reviews and things like that, so I appreciate Michelle who's done that so far. But definitely check all of these books out so far. And all the ones mentioned today. They definitely look good. And as I was putting this together and everything, I think I added way too many to my TBR list that I think is now going to topple me by the time it's finished. So congratulations to Under the Dragon Moon and Mosse Hanlon. It doesn't get any smaller though. My TBR list, it just grows. I don't think I read fast enough. It will be the death of me. And definitely, for those who are on here and do have reviews, definitely tag us in the Instagram post so that I can share them and we can get more highlights for all of these books and just indie books in general, honestly. There can never be enough attention for indie and self-published books, in my personal biased opinion. Next up, best morally gray characters. Our finalists are A Bone in His Teeth by Kellen Graves. A Curse of Breath and Blood by K.W. Foster. Beyond the Aching Door by Victoria Meyer. Transference by Ian Patterson. Paragon Exordium by Mikhail Lowassel. Of Stars and Lightning by Melanie Marr. Heir of Stardust and Secrets by C.C. Hart. The Church of the Mountain of Flesh by Kyle Wakefield. We also have Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Through Legend They Fall by Rachel Penley. What Manner of Man by St. John Sterling. And now for the winner for morally gray characters. And that book is Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Congratulations. Honestly, there were so many good entries in every single category. And I hope as the years go by and we keep doing this, we have more and more and more great books. Next, we have Best Setting. honestly, setting is sometimes a character all in of itself. And our setting finalists are Generations by Gnome Christophides, Reverence by Melina McKay, Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page, Isolation by Jared Grace, Heir of Stardust and Secrets by C.C. Hartley, Paragon Excordium by Mikhail Molossel, Remembering Demons by J. Cornelius, Odyssey, Sex Wizards Book 4 by Alethea Faust, What Manner of Man by St. John Sterling, The Journey of Love by Simi Ramdot, and the winner for the best setting is The Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Congratulations again, Sarah. Next is the best use of tropes. And our finalists for the best use of tropes are How We End by L.M. Juniper, How to Bare Your Neck and Save a Wreck by D.N. Bryn, Worthy of Fate by A.N. Claudel, Ascendant Songs of Chaos Book 1 by Michael R. Miller, Beyond the Aching Door by Victoria Meyer, Heir of Stardust and Secrets by C.C. Hartley, Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page, Isolation by Jared Grace, Remembering Demons by J. Cornelius, The Journey of Love by Simi Ramdot, Reverence by Melina McKay, and the best use of tropes winner is The Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Next we have Prettiest Book Interior. Prettiest Book Interior finalists are Midnight So Deadly by Rend Handman, Colors of Magic by Liz Sakow, Hope's Grave Easily by Frances O'Dowd, Mushroom Blues by Adrienne M. Gibson, How to Start a Demonic Cult and Get Away with It by Debbie Latalis, The Church of the Mountain of Flesh by Kyle Wakefield, The Journey of Love by Simi Ramdot, A Curse of Breath and Blood by K.W. Foster, A Bone in His Teeth by Kellen Graves, Under the Dragon Moon by Mosse Hanlon. And for the winner of the prettiest book interior is Under the Dragon Moon by Mosse Hanlon. Next we have Side Character MVP. And the best side character MVP finalists are Beneath the Indigo Sun by Rain Hawthorne, Generations by Noam Josephides, Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page, Heir of Stardust and Secrets by C.C. Hartley, Isolation by Jared Grace, Paragon Exordium by Mikhail Molossel, Pretty Average by Irini Vlotman, Remembering Demons by J. Cornelius. Reverence by Melina McKay. Worthy of Fate by A. N. Claudio. What Manner of Man by St. John Starling. And the winner for the best side character MVP is Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Next, we have Best Book That Made Me Hungry or Thirsty. Just FYI, this is physically hungry or thirsty, not the other equally justifiable definition, just not this particular category. So, food. Best food books. I am all about food. A Curse of Breath and Blood by K.W. Foster. Defiant Songs of Chaos, Book 3 by Michael R. Miller. Book Stories by Sarah Tolick. The Fealty of Monsters, Volume 1 by Lads. Upscaled by Joseph John Lee. The Flowered Blade by Taylor Hubbard. Cursed Cocktails by S. L. Rowland. When Oceans Rise by Robin Alvarez. What Manner of Man by St. John Sterling. Heir of Stardust and Secrets by C.C. Hartley. And the winner, Best In Book That Made Us Hungry or Thirsty, is Defiant Song of Chaos, Book 3 by Michael R. Miller. Congratulations. Next up, we have Wittiest Character. Wittiest Character finalists are How to Bite Your Neighbor and Win a Wager by D.N. Brin. Worthy of Fate by A.N. Claudio. Generations by Noam Josephides. Heir of Stardust and Secrets by C.C. Hartley. Breeze Spells and Bridegrooms by Sarah Wallace and S.O. Callahan. Cleats, Corsets, and the Cutie by Shashish Rastogi. Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Paragon Exordium by Mikhail Molossel. Remembering Demons by J. Cornelius. Under the Dragon Moon by Mossy Hanlon. The Silent Hand by K.C. McIntosh. And the winner for the wittiest character is Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page. Next up are the Writing the Future We Need categories. First, we have asexual or aromantic representation.
I am super honored to announce the judge's favorite for the asexual or aromantic representation by an ACE or Arrow Author Award. As someone who's part of the ACE Arrow community, I am so grateful to see these books out in the world and am so grateful that Arrow ACE folks are getting more and more representation in literature. Judges read from and scored 10 finalists, which were An Appreciation of Cats by Des DeVivo, A Midnight So Deadly by Ren Handman, Blessed by the Cupid Distribution System by Robin Jo Margaret, Awakenings by Claudie Arsenault, Cupid Calling by Viano Oniomo, Fallen Thorns by Harvey Oliver Baxter, The Envoys of War by Dave Lawson, Pray for Him by Tyler Battaglia, Time Marked Warlock by Shami Stovall, and Breeze Spells and Bridegrooms by Sarah Wallace and S.O. Callahan. The judge's favorite with the highest score is Breeze Spells and Bridegrooms by Sarah Wallace and S.O. Callahan. One of our judges wrote, quote, such a cute story with highly lovable characters, winsome magic, and some lovely main character representation of asexuality. I loved how sweetly protective and caring Roger and Wynne became for one another. Their slowest of slow burn romance morphed into gentle touches, soft affirmations, and stoic, kind-hearted protectiveness, and I really enjoyed every single look, touch, or longing thought between them. Honestly, Roger and Wynne became couple goals, end quote. Congratulations to Sarah Wallace and S.O. Callahan.
Next up, we have Asian representation by an Asian author. And our finalist, Little Favors by Adik Graves, Pradiyuta by Geetha Krishnan, The Earthy Blaze by Alice Poon, The Heavenly Sword, also by Alice Poon, When Oceans Rise by Robin Alvarez, The Journey of Love, The Hexagons by Simi Ramdot, Pretty Average by Irini Vlotman, How We End by L.M. Juniper, A New World for You by Kawa Laura, and Cleats, Corsets, and the Cutie by Ashashi Rastogi. And the winner of Asian representation by an Asian winner is Cleats, Corsets, and the Cutie by Shashi Rastogi. Next up, we have bisexual or biromantic representation. And the finalists for bisexual or biromantic representation are Coal Gets in Your Veins by Kat Rector, Of Blood and Ether by Harper Hawthorne, Demon of the Deep by Briar Belmont, The Saint of Heartbreak by Morgan Dante, Yours Celestial by Al Hess, Midnight So Deadly by Run Handman, Beyond the Aching Door by Victoria Meyer, Colors of Magic by Liz Sacco, Eye of Ouroboros by Megan Bontrager, A Curse of Breath and Blood by K.W. Foster, How to Start a Demon Cult and Get Away with It by Debbie Latalis, Odyssey Sex Wizards Book 4 by Alethea Faust. Also, The Flowered Blade by Taylor Hubbard, and Under the Dragon Moon by Moss A. Hanlon. And the winner for bisexual or biromantic representation is Yours Celestially by Al Hess. Next, we have Black representation by a Black author. And the finalists for Black representation by a Black author are Bitterbound by A.C. Louise, Children of the Black Silver Sight Saga number 1 by W. J. Wong III, Errant by Montrez, Hesper, the Artifact series by Obasi Naomi, Homecoming Chaos by D.W. Brooks, Love at Second Sight by Ayoka B, Splinter, a diverse Sleepy Hollow retelling by Jasper Hyde, Wrongful, a true story by Brandy Wilson, There Ought to Be Shadows by Chrissy K. Williams, Cupid Calling by Viano Onimio, and the winner for Black representation by a Black author is Cupid Calling by Viano Oniomo. And now I'm going to hand it over to Michelle again, who is going to introduce Disability Rep by a Disabled Author.
Thank you. As a member of the chronically ill community, it's so important for us to start seeing these stories of disabled, otherly abled, and chronically ill people in stories not only about our illnesses and our disabilities or other abilities, but also stories that have nothing to do with those things, just people living in joy and sadness and just in their lives. But it's even more important than that for these books to be in the hands of people who do not live our experience, so that they can begin to see and maybe even understand what it is that we live on a day-to-day basis. So we appreciate all of these authors for what they have given to the world by putting these stories out into it. We would love to show you the finalists for a disabled representation by a disabled author. And the finalists are Stars and Soil by Dax Murray, Phantom and Rook by Elena Isaacs, The Winnemac Web by Marie Howalt, The Reanimator's Remains by Kara Jorgensen, Unholy with Eyes Like Wolves by Morgan Dante, Under Far Galaxian Skies by Natalie Kelda, Cursed Cocktails by S.L. Rowland, How to Bury Your Neck and Save a Wreck by Deanne Brin, Paragon Exordium by Mikkel Mawassel, Under the Dragon Moon by Mossy Hanlon, and Pray for Him by Tyler Battaglia. And the winner for disability representation by a disabled author is Pray for Him by Tyler Battaglia. One reviewer wrote that Battaglia effortlessly balances the horror of demon possession with the importance of chosen family in this book. And another said it felt like being guided through a haunted maze by a beacon of warm light. Thank you so much, Tyler, for your story and for your courage in writing this book.
And now I'm going to hand it off to Shrike, who will introduce the finalists and winners for gay or lesbian representation.
Howdy, y'all. So I'm Shrike, and as a queer reader, I know how important it is to see ourselves represented authentically in stories. So I'm excited to announce, first of all, the finalists for gay or lesbian representation. First, we have The Crimson Walls of Agaraf by Anna Hawthorne, Beneath the Indigo Sky by Rain Hawthorne, Book Stories by Sarah Tulloch, Cleats, Corsets, and the Cutie by Ashish Rastogi, Eye of the Ouroboros by Megan Bontrager, How to Start a Demonic Cult and Get Away with It by Devi Latalis, Of Stars and Lightning by Melanie Marr, and How to Bear Your Neck and Save a Wreck by Deanne Brin. Next up, we have Reverence by Milena McKay, Stars and Soil by Dax Murray, What Manner of Man by St. John Starling, and Under the Dragon Moon by Moss Hanlon. I'm so excited to announce that the judge's favorite with the highest score was Under the Dragon Moon by Moss Hanlon. Congratulations. This is such a beautiful book.
Thank you for being our presenter. You guys have done a much better job than I have. Next up, we have Indigenous Representation by Indigenous Author. Indigenous Representation by an Indigenous Author finalist are The Green Fuse Burning by Tiffany Morris, Sordides by E.G. Conde, and the winner for Indigenous Representation by an Indigenous Author is Green Fuse Burning by Tiffany Morris. And now I'm going to hand it off again to Alma, who is going to read Latinx Latin representation by a Latinx author.
Thank you, Coda. I am super thrilled to announce the judge's favorite for the Latinx or Latina representation by a Latinx or Latina author. As someone who's bicultural and bilingual, I have been honored to judge for this category for the last 3 years, and I love the ways in which our authors represent different parts of Latin American identity, history, geography, alternate futures, and lots more. Judges read and scored 10 finalists for this category, which are Book of You and I, When Two Souls Collide by G. Severino, Fabulous Texas by Michelle Monares, Latin Dancin' by Dario Aguilar Peregrina, The Bone Key by Mary Rajot, Seeds of the Fallen by Miriam Yvette, The Root of Hope, Tempest Blades number 4 by Ricardo Victoria, Through Dry Places by D.H. Gutierrez, Zero, Zombie Elimination and Rescue Operatives by Jessica Ungahoya, Touch of Fate by Ligia de Witt, and Sordides by E.G. Conde. The judge's favorite with the highest score in this category is Sordides by E.G. Conde. One of our judges wrote, quote, "The integration of Boriquen and Maya Mexica culture, including the history of military dictatorships in Latin America, the history of colonialism and bad actors who have taken advantage of the lands, workers, and peoples of Latin America and the Caribbean, and the anti-imperialist leanings of this novel are fantastic," end quote. Congratulations to E.G. Conde. This is such a wonderful book.
All right, so this is Shrike swinging back in to talk about some awesome LGBTQ plus representation. Y'all did not make it easy with all of the incredible queer art this year. All right, so first up, we have The Tenfold Tenets by Evie Belknap, Wolf of Withervale by Joaquin Baldwin, A Curse of Breath and Blood by K.W. Foster, Beneath the Indigo Sky by Ray Hawthorne, How to Start a Demonic Cult and Get Away with It by Devi Latalis, Book Stories by Sarah Tulloch, How We End by L.M. Juniper, Odyssey by Alethea Faust, The Reanimator's Remains by Kara Jorgensen, and What Manner of Man by St. John Starling. And finally, the judge's favorite with the highest score, again, y'all made this really difficult, was The Reanimator's Remains by Kara Jorgensen.
Next, we'll move on to mental health representation. Our mental health representation finalists represent stories from across the gambit of mental health and its ramifications, but also the beauty of living through and triumphing over some of the hardest moments of life, and also the consequences of not being able to find those triumphs. So thank you to our authors for bringing these intense and real stories to light, but also for giving us some of the looks at the joys of life through those clouds that we sometimes have to live through. Our finalists include Cross the Line by Lucky Heart, When Oceans Rise by Robin Alvarez, Dark Bloom by Molly McCobb, Through Legend They Fall by Rachel Penley, How to Start a Demonic Cult and Get Away with It by Devi Latalis, Illusion of Stars by Sarah Marie Page, Air of Stardust and Secrets by C.C. Hartley, Paragon Exordium by Michael Mawassil, The Reanimator's Remains by Kara Jorgensen, of Stars and Lightning by Melanie Marr. And the winner of the mental health representation category is The Reanimator's Remains by Kara Jorgensen. This is the third book in the Reanimator's Mystery series. It's been described as the best in the series so far, a cozy, slow burn delight. I would definitely recommend starting with book one. But one reviewer said that despite the harrowing tension of the mystery and the emotional realities of loss, greed, hatred, and fear that pack a hard punch, this is so soft to read. So congratulations to Kara, and thank you again for your stories.
I'm going to pass it off to Matt, who will read Neurodivergent Representation by a Neurodivergent Author.
Hello, everyone. This is Matt, directly from Mexico City. First of all, I want to say how grateful I am to the sponsors and the organizers of these awards and for inviting me again to be part of this and to present this award. I also want to thank all the others participating and mainly those of the Writing the Future We Need categories, as this is very necessary. I am part of many of these, so I want to thank you all. And now let's go to the finalists. First, we have. Also, I want to disclaim that I want to apologize if I mispronounce any of these titles or names. So, first is Cross the Line by Lucky Heart. Um, Ancient as the Stars by Maya Darjani. Yours Celestially by Al Hess. The Reanimator's Remains by Kara Jorgensen. Bury Your Neck and Save a Wreck by Diane Breen. Glass Wings by Ellie Cayley. Under the Dragon Moon by Moss Hanlin. How to Start a Demonic Cult and Get Away with It by Debbie Letalis. Of Blood and Ether by Harper Hawthorne. Breeze Spells and Bridegrooms by Sarah Wallace and S.O. Callahan. And last but not least, The Flowered Blade by Taylor Hubbard. The winner of this award, which was the judge's favorite with the highest score, is The Reanimator's Remains by Kara Jorgensen. Congratulations, Kara.
All right, next up, we have the trans or non-binary representation category. As a trans reader, I just deeply appreciate y'all continuing to create art with great trans and non-binary representation now more than ever. So let's get to our finalists. First up, we have Empress of Dust by Alex Kingsley. Reclaimed by Seth Haddon. A Midnight So Deadly by Ren Handman. A Bone in His Teeth by Kellen Graves. How to Bare Your Neck and Save a Wreck by Diane Bryn. Odyssey by Alethea Faust. How We End by L.M. Juniper. The Church of the Mountain of Flesh by Kyle Wakefield. Yours Celestially by Al Hess. Under the Dragon Moon by Moss Hanlon. And The Flowered Blade by Taylor Hubbard. For this category, the judge's favorite with the highest score was Under the Dragon Moon by Moss Hanlon. Congrats again.
Congratulations to all of the winners. That concludes all of the categories for the awards this year. I want to thank everybody again the authors who made sure their books were on Indie Story Geek, all the bloggers and judges who participated and read through all of the stories. A special thanks from me to SK for putting up with all of my stuff as preparing for all of this and this event. Thank you to Indie Story Geek for making a wonderful platform so that we can highlight and celebrate all the indie and self-pub books. There will be a final list both up on Indie Story Geek and the website. Probably Indie Story Geek first. Also, I want to thank our presenters, Matt from Tiny Elf Arcanist, Michelle, Alma, and Shrike, who presented very, very well. And I appreciate them taking the time to put together things to talk about the authors and the winners. I hope you have added much more books to your TBR list if you have not already. But again, please make sure maybe to pester nicely all of your favorite indie and self-pub authors to make sure their books are on Indie Story Geek so that they can be nominated next year. Again, thank you for everybody for coming out and listening to all of us. Thank you for voting, and thank you for making sure that we do celebrate all of the cool books there are out in the world.